Okay, next question. How do you get a girl that likes hood guys or quote unquote bad boys? Okay, hood guys. Uh, the, I know what he means. This idea that women like bad boys it's true. You know, women do like a guy with an edge. But I would say a guy who is successful or at least motivated in doing something with his life and has an edge over the guy who's just a hood guy. He's just kind of, a thug or whatever. Do people still say thug? I don't know. What what turns a woman on about a guy who has an edge, who is a bad boy or who is hood, is that he can potentially keep her safe in a dangerous situation. That's all it is. I think there's maybe some novelty about it, some excitement about maybe a guy who breaks the rules or a guy who like lives outside of the norm, a guy who's maybe tough or a little bit dangerous, a little bit scary. There's a novelty element to that some women like, but I would say most women don't really care that much if a guy's dangerous or has some sort of dark side to him. Most women really don't care. In fact, most women aren't really turned on, especially quality women, like a woman who's intelligent, has a good moral compass, is generally a good person. She's not going to like a guy because he sells drugs or because he breaks the law or because he's an asshole to people or because he has a lot of tattoos. Of course, women like tattoos. We hear it all the time. Women think tattoos are sexy. But I don't have any tattoos. Never been a problem for me. I don't go around breaking the law. I don't sell drugs. I don't try to be a bad boy. I don't do anything consciously to try to be anything other than I am. What's interesting about that, though, is women have told me that I'm a bad boy, or that I seem like I have an edge. The reason why is because I have a strong internal locus of control. So, one thing about, like, for example, a bad boy or a guy who's hood, okay, a guy who's tough, he's got an edge. He seems a little, maybe he's dangerous, or maybe he could actually, and dangerous, I don't mean like assaulting women or anything like that. I mean dangerous, like maybe he's got maybe some black market operations going. Those guys tend to actually have a strong internal locus of control, which is like a guidance system. So they make their own rules and they follow them. That's separate from being from the hood or being a bad boy or having a lot of tattoos. In fact, I think a lot of people with tattoos got tattoos because they wanted to fit in or wanted to look a certain way, wanted to impress people. So that's the opposite of an internal locus of control. Look up internal locus of control and really explore that concept. It's fundamental to the ACT leadership system. Making your own rules and following them, having your own sort of guidance system for how you treat people, how you treat yourself, the decisions you make in your life. So you're on your own path. You forge your own path. That's what's really sexy about bad boys. Also, like I said, a bad boy is a guy who's not afraid to, put his dukes up or, at least call someone out or stand his ground in a confrontation if the situation could potentially turn dangerous. He's going to be able to keep her safe. So that's why it's sort of paradoxical or counterintuitive, but women feel safer with a guy who has kind of a dangerous edge. He seems like a bad boy. You don't have to make a conscious effort to do this. You don't have to dress a certain way. You don't have to get tattoos or talk any differently than you are now. What you need to do is cultivate a strong internal locus of control, and ACT leadership does that for you. It all comes down to thrust, okay? And I use that term very deliberately. because it merges your nature as a man with your sexuality and your need for a purpose in life, to be moving towards something. So those are the two reasons why women like that type. But if you can understand the reasons why, you can apply those to yourself and not really change. There might be some small tweaks you can make in terms of your style. Maybe if you dress like you shop at Joseph A. Banks, then maybe you might want to get a couple cool T-shirts, some jeans, whatever. But you can see how I dress. I mean, this is how I dress normally. I'm actually I have a very boring kind of Midwest style. I wear a lot of T-shirts, sweatshirts, jeans. I love sweatpants. I go wear sneakers. I'm wearing sneakers right now. But I do like to dress up as well. And so now we're kind of getting into the fashion aspect of it. But I'm white, obviously, in case you didn't notice. I'm very white. But I've always preferred darker hair, darker skinned women, Hispanic women, Latino women, black women, Asian women, white women as well. But I tend to go towards the brunette, more tan, olive skin or darker. And where I grew up in the a small city in the Midwest, I grew up around a lot of black folks, a lot of Hispanic folks. And it was hood. I mean, there's most of the city I grew up in is pretty ghetto. There's good areas, there's bad areas. Most of it is somewhere in the middle, but there's a lot of hood areas, right? A lot of the women I'd meet would be from these areas, so they were used to guys who were more thuggish than I am. It was never a problem. Well, it was when I was younger, and then when I understood internal locus of control, then it stopped being a problem. So, I've dated Puerto Rican women from the hood, black women from the hood, white women from the hood. So that just goes to show you that this really trumps all of that. Okay? Getting back to this question about whether women like bad boys or not. Getting back to this question about whether women like bad boys and, what to do about it if she seems to like bad boys or hood guys, as the guy asked. First of all, there's another false dichotomy where a guy thinks that being a bad boy or, having an edge means you can't be successful or intelligent. A lot of quote unquote bad boys are not successful or intelligent, but they have an edge. So there's the appeal there with women because they feel safe with the guy, because he could keep her safe in a dangerous situation. However, if you're intelligent and successful and you have a little bit of an edge, which comes from an internal locus of control, there's no contest. Now, if the woman does not value intelligence or success, if she thinks the fact that you have a job and you're making money and that you're an intelligent person who thinks about things, thinks about the kind of man you want to be, thinks about, you make intelligent decisions in your life. If that turns her off, or, that somehow makes her feel like you're a goody two-shoes or you're too straight-laced, fuck her, she's fired. Like, why would you waste your dick on that? You know what I'm saying? I can't even think of a woman I've met who was like that. I have, dated women. Obviously, I'm white, but I've dated women of color who grew up in the hood, and they've said, and they've said things, and I've heard women say, and some of these women have said to me, you're the first white guy I've ever dated. You're not the type I usually have dated in my past, but they never say it in a bad way, like, I'm surprised I'm attracted to you. It's more like, this is a breath of fresh air, a guy who's, intelligent, who's going somewhere in life, who thinks about things, who has interesting things to say, and who's genuinely interested in her as a human being versus just a piece of ass. That's a breath of fresh air, whether the woman's from the hood or whether she's from a gated community. So if you're not hood enough for a girl, cut her off. Like, what, you should not continue to talk to that person. There's so many women out there, and so many of them are want a guy who's intelligent, who's going places, he has a purpose in life. He's moving forward somehow. Most women love that. So if you stumble on a woman who needs a guy who's really hood, if she wants to date a thug, fine. There's like for every one girl like that, there's like 50 that are, what I consider normal.